Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who will not be watching football a week from tomorrow night. Kyle, how are you doing?
I won't be watching football, but I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Yes, doing great. A lot of stuff in the sports world, right? Baseball playoffs start soon. Aaron Judge hit 62. Final. I feel like he was never going to do it. I feel like he let the suspense build there.
I was debating on buying tickets to go to the game today if he didn't do it, but then he did it. I didn't want to drive to Arlington anyway, but hey, congrats for the 7th most home runs of all time. That's cool.
Yeah, spoken like a true Red Sox fan. I think, again, I feel like I say this every week, a lot of interesting games this week. I think there's more games this week than we had in the past couple of weeks that feel like I know I have a good, I have my finger on the pulse of where that game is going to go. But I think still some interesting ones here.
I sure hope so, because for my pick's sake, I really need to. I need to get some of these right here.
Yes, Kyle. We have a football score. 21-14 is the picks right now. You need to start. You need to pick it up. You're missing the locks, and you're missing a lot of picks in general. I missed my lock last week too, though, so I am no longer undefeated on locks.
Yeah. Maybe I think we're going to need a new strategy here. I think we're reevaluating, and let's see if this gets a little better this week.
Yeah, let's talk about the lock I missed, the 49ers. 49ers are good, Kyle. I think this is sort of official that this is kind of a coming out party. I think their defense. I was doing my analytical power rankings the day before. I'm going to do that like every couple of weeks. I can't do it. I don't have the time to do it every week, but every now and then I will throw that one out there. And I didn't realize how well the 49ers defense had graded out. And then they really showed it against the Rams the following night. So 49ers defense legit.
Yeah, this team is going, I think it's number one net rating defense right now. So it's obviously doing very well in that regard. And I think it's just going to go a long way for this team because I think it's really talented. And D'Amico Ryan's going to get a head coaching job, basically.
Yeah. It seems like, again, if you want to be a head coach, it seems like just take a coordinator job under Shanahan or McVay, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just the way to go. But honestly, but talking about this game a little bit, can we hit the panic meter now with this team? This team, speaking of this team being the Rams.
Yeah, I would assume it's the Rams, not the 49ers.
I'm concerned. I'm very concerned right now because this team is not explosive on offense. I mean, what was it? Three yards per play? Like, are you kidding me? 3.5 yards per play? Are you kidding me? Like, I get this defense is good. It's obviously terrific, but that's sensationally bad. They have one guy who can make impact plays. That's Cooper Kupp. They have nobody else on this team that can make an impact play, and it shows when this team plays because it's pathetic looking right now.
Yeah, the Allen Robinson signing, which I liked at the time, has not really paid off so far. They're waiting for that to happen. And I mean, you're right. 48 passing attempts Matt Stafford had. Kupp had 122 yards and Higbee had 73 yards. But other than that, the next highest receiver is Ben Skowronek with 33 yards. I mean, this is, they need to get other guys open consistently for this. I think I agree with you. I think that it's, again, panic how? Do I think this team will make the playoffs? Yeah, I think this team will make the playoffs. But are they a Super Bowl contender? It remains to be seen. But I guess maybe the flip side isn't this just what Matt Stafford offenses do? Don't they just have these stretches every season of Stafford's missing throws, the offense isn't looking as good, but then once he starts playing well, you don't notice those anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's potential. They had it at the end of the season last year, righted the ship, and then obviously, went on to win the Super Bowl. So maybe it happens again. But at the same time, it just doesn't. The vibe check is not checking off for me right now. They've beaten two teams in the Falcons and Cardinals, which I don't think people are really high on. And they got obliterated in the other two games. This wasn't as, It was 31-10, 24-9 in those two losses, but they felt significantly worse, I think, at the time. Like, I don't know. Do you think this team's going to win this division? Because right now it doesn't feel that way.
I'm not betting on them. I mean, it's weird. Everyone in the division is 2-2, so
Yeah.
they're back at square one. I guess the nice thing though is that I don't really have faith in the Cardinals or Seahawks. So right
Yeah.
now, I think the 49ers should be favored to win the division. And I think they just showed that on Monday.
I think so too. They definitely looked the part, although they just had a stupid loss the week before. Although that, there was some varying factors with that as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But right now, I think this team needs to add some help, whether it's waiting on Odell Beckham to get healthy and bringing him back or making a trade happen. They need to get something to help this team because right now it's Cooper Kupp and then a bad offensive line, a bad running game, bad secondary receivers, and to be quite honest, bad quarterback play.
Yeah. Luckily, though, the Rams are not afraid to bring someone in if they feel like they have to. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let's move on. Let's talk about week 5. Kyle, already week 5. Doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel right, but it's it's a process, and it's sad to think we're already past a quarter way through the season, right?
Yeah. But, I feel like the nice thing about it, though, is I always kind of feel like, well, hey, but it gets more exciting as the season goes on. So, yes, it's sad that, we don't get that. But, like, yeah, it's more exciting now. I'm more into it.
Yeah, we're gonna get close. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. I think we're starting to learn more about these teams each week, and let's see if I can start getting some picks right. That's the most important thing. I need picks right.
Yeah. Yeah. I could use some picks right as well. I had
Eh,
not as bad as you did, Kyle, but I had a bad week last week as well.
yeah, need to start getting the lock right. That's the big thing.
Locks are always important. Let's talk about week 5. So, Kyle, you are still trailing, so you will be giving me a game. Give me a game to pick who's going to win.
All right, I don't have a feel for either of these teams really right now. They both have dumb losses on their schedule. They both kind of have weird wins on their schedule. Let's go Chargers at Browns.
Okay, Chargers at Browns. Interesting game here. I had a couple. There's a couple games I don't want to pick, so I'm kind of happy that you gave me this one because I feel okay about picking the Chargers here. Again, these two teams had a crazy game last season where 1,000 points were scored. I don't know. I do trust that the Chargers, they have a clear quarterback advantage. That's a significant advantage. The flip side is I can definitely see the Browns winning, right? Browns built on the running game. The Chargers team not exactly known for stopping the run in the Brandon Staley era. So that seems to be the key to victory is just run the ball a lot and you could have success. And yeah, it's certainly possible. Someone could go either way. But I feel like the Chargers are the better team. I'm trusting the Chargers here.
I do feel like they're the better team, but right now they're banged up. Right now, they haven't proven to be the better team in really any of the 4 weeks that we've seen significantly. Like, I don't know. It feels like that they've had games that it felt like they should have won that they lost, and they had games that they should have won lost that they feel like they won. And then there's the getting crushed by the Jaguars in the middle of that. So it just feels like what does that culminate into with this team? I do think they are the better team in this matchup, but like Cleveland still does things pretty well that I think can give the Chargers some problems. I still think that they're going to be able to run on this team. I think they're going to be able to move the ball that way. And then, can this defense, this past defense that has all these talented players for the Browns, can it play better than what we've seen? Because that's something that's been kind of interesting this year is we thought this Browns defense would be nasty. This offense has thoroughly outperformed this defense, I thought.
More defense has played okay. I mean, it's had its issues. I mean, again, you look at the score totals. Give up 24 points, 17 points, 20 points, and then there was the Jets collapse where they ended up giving up 31 points out of 4. But I agree with you. It's definitely underperformed. Uh, um, you know, I guess my thing about the Browns though is, listen, there's stuff we like about this team. There's things that they do well, but why are you losing to the Falcons then? Why are you narrowly beating the Panthers, and why are you losing to the Jets? Again, you can say it was Joe Flacco magic, whatever. These are still, still issues I have with this Browns team. And while the Chargers haven't exactly been, great at, as far as what we expected from them, they played the Texans way too close, as well. I still think that I trust, I think I've been more impressed with the Chargers through 4 weeks. The Chargers have had one disappointing week, whereas I think the Browns have been, again, I just think this is who they are until Watson gets here.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, but I do want to get a little more of a feel for these two teams. So it'll be interesting. Browns, despite all the stuff going on and I think a lot of it is still this team's going to look a lot better, obviously, with just Deshaun Watson on the field. Tied for first in the division of all against all likelihood.
Yeah, losing to the Falcons stinks for them, I think, because again, you want to rack up these wins as much as you can before Watson gets there. Yeah, should be an interesting one. Want to move on?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to. I'm going to give you. I think this is probably the marquee game of the week, the one I'm most looking forward to. It is the thumbnail game. I'm giving you Bengals at Ravens here. Where are you going?
Yeah, I am going to side with the Bengals on this one. I think that they've played well the last few weeks. I think they've kind of righted the ship. The offense still isn't perfect, but I think what we've seen is that you can throw on this Baltimore team, which wasn't really expected at times. I think you can throw downfield on these guys, and I think Cincinnati is going to be able to throw downfield and win outside on these guys. And the defense has played very well, I think, the last couple of weeks. I know it obviously played better when Tua Tagovailoa got hurt, but with an extra rest, with how it's been playing, I'm going to take them to beat the Ravens.
Well, here's my thing about this game. So I picked this game hoping you would pick the favorite Ravens. You're picking the underdog Bengals because my thing is I still haven't seen the Ravens defense be able to even come close to stopping Jamar Chase and stopping this this Bengals offense. Now, again, they had injuries, especially the second game. Ravens were very banged up last year, but I just feel like schematically, it feels like a massive mismatch that favors Cincinnati on that side of the ball. And I feel like I still trust that to continue. And until I see the Ravens come up with a game plan to stop it, I'm going to keep betting on Cincinnati.
I think that's fair. And then not to mention, this is another defense to me that's just underperformed my expectations. And another part of it is that we've seen teams start to have success against this Bengals offense because they're taking Jamar Chase seriously. They're dropping into deep coverage. Basically what the Bengals are doing to everybody in the playoffs that worked. Teams are starting to do the Bengals. They're dropping deep into coverage. They're putting a guy over the top of Jamar Chase and not letting him win one-on-one. The Ravens don't like to do that. They like to stay aggressive, and it's just not going to work against this team. It's not going to work throwing a bunch of guys at Joe Burrow. It's not going to work putting one-on-one against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. The Bengals should be able to have success because we've seen everybody basically have success against this offense except for the Jets.
Yeah. No, I think I agree. I think that this is it's a concern. I think that's fair. I guess the one thing I would say is we saw the Ravens last year, early on in the season, not blitz Mahomes. They finally kind of learned their lesson. Could we see a similar thing of not leaving Jamar Chase one-on-one? Can they learn their lesson here?
Based on the Dolphins game, no. That Dolphins game was something where it's kind of similar. Tyreek Hill's kind of destroyed them by doing the same thing, and they just decided to let Tyreek Hill do the same thing. Now, maybe they were kind of underselling what Tua was at the time, and that kind of, came back to bite them. They could, but at the same time, I'm not betting on it just from what I've seen as the pattern to this Ravens team and what they like to do.
Yeah. The one other thing is Cincinnati, sixth best EPA per play defense right now. Defense is playing very well. So that could give Lamar some more struggles. Could be another one of those games where Lamar has to just win it himself, which, listen, would not be the first time.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that he's been able to do in the past. And I don't know, though, but at the same time, like this healthy Bengals defense has started to play well. And I think they're a top 6 defensive team right now by efficiency numbers. So, yeah, I mean, if they're able to defend well and I think they can guard Baltimore's receivers, and I think that they'll be able to have success.
Yeah. Let's move on. Why don't you give me a game?
All right. Let's go. Let's see. I'm going to give you let's do this one. Let's do Lions at Patriots.
Okay, Lions at Patriots. You don't want to have to pick your team. I see. I don't want to have to pick your team, Kyle. I don't know what's going on with either of these two teams. The Lions are seemingly the team that loses by 3 points to anybody they play. So naturally, they're 3-point underdogs here. I guess that checks out. I guess I get the logic there by the odds makers. The Patriots are, another team that can't seem to get wins, but I still feel like there's a lot of stuff I like about this team, but then a lot of stuff I don't like about this team. I think I have to pick the Patriots. Part of it might just be my priors. It's a Matt Patricia revenge game here. I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen enough from the Lions offense, and I trust that I'm interested in seeing how Bill Belichick plays this Lions defense that's been surprisingly lighting it up these past few weeks.
Yeah. I I think I would lean Patriots too in this one, just because like I think this defense is pretty good, but at the same time, like Detroit has shown that they can kind of score on anybody, and the Patriots haven't shown that they can really, consistently score and move the ball on anybody. And with the
Mhm.
third string quarterback potentially starting in this game, I think that's going to be a really tough ask. If this game gets to 30, it's going to be a tough ask for the Patriots to get to 30 as well. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It's kind of offense versus defense, so maybe you could bet potentially Patriots and under or something like that if you like the Patriots. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think I'm leaning Patriots because I think this defense is good and it'll be good again.
And here's the other thing that I feel like is a concern: Lions worst EPA per play in worst defensive rush EPA per play. So they give up a lot of yards on the ground. The Patriots running game has been fantastic. So if they can run the ball very effectively, and that feels like a concern. Listen, Patriots aren't exactly known for their run defense right now either, and the Lions are definitely capable of running the ball as well. But that's something that I feel can be a concern.
Yeah, Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevens. I think Ramondre is a little better, and I would like to see him get more carries. But
Hmm.
they split that workload really well, and both have a ton of success. And Damian Harris is really good, so um, they should be able to continue to have success in this game because this Lions defense can't get stops. So if they can continue to run the ball, move on the ground, then perhaps they are able to keep up with Detroit's offense, score a ton of points, and win this game. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out though, and how this Lions defense, if Zappy is really back there, I know the run defense isn't good, but what's stopping them from putting 9 in the box at that point, basically?
What's stopping the Lions?
Yeah.
Not a lot. Again, I'm not sure how concerned you are about Lil Jordan Humphrey on the outside. I think that maybe hey, I don't know. Isn't this what we brought in guys for? Isn't this what we brought in Devontae Parker for? Isn't this what we brought in Kendrick Bourne 2 years ago for? Again, Kyle, what's going on? This is my weekly. What's going on with the Kendrick Bourne stuff?
I don't know. He played a little bit more to start this game, obviously, because Mac Jones was out and made a couple another couple big catches. I don't know what happened this offseason because there had been talk during the preseason basically that he was falling out of favor during training camp, but no one's really gone into the details of why he's fallen out of favor. And I think a lot of it probably has to do with blocking because he's not in there a lot on running situations. But Parker's been pretty good the last 2 weeks. He only had 2 catches, but one of them was a touchdown reception. So maybe Parker gets a little more involved and that helps. But at the same time, it's asking a lot from Bailey Zappi potentially to, step up and win this game.
Yeah, and listen, someone in the chat saying Lions number one offense, aren't they? Like, listen, plenty of reasons why the Lions could win this game as well. Like you said, if the Lions offense legitimately is this good and they put up 30 points, I can easily see the Patriots struggling to do the same. Lions not just number one in points, but also in points per drive. So a lot of good stuff with them. Maybe just don't throw any more pick sixes.
Yeah, and they're going against the number one cornerback duo in the NFL, basically, in Jack Jones and Jonathan Jones.
There you go.
You better watch out for the Joneses there.
Yeah,
They
yes,
have been good.
No, they have. Let's move on. I'm going to give you a game that is gross. Don't like this game. I don't want to deal with it. Battle of the Horses here. Colts Broncos. That's the game on tomorrow night. I don't know what to make of either of these two teams. So, I gave you the Bengals Ravens because I was hoping you would pick the favorite Ravens, and then I could get you to get a wrong prediction there. I'm giving you this game because I have no clue who I think is going to win this.
Yeah, I was thinking about this one too. I'm going to take the Broncos in this one just because at home, like if Jonathan Taylor's out now, and
Yeah.
with Jonathan Taylor out, like what is stopping the Broncos from double teaming Michael Pittman and just ending this game that way? How are the Colts going to be able to move the ball if they can't get the ball to Pittman? I know Alec Pierce has had some moments, but at the same time, I just don't think it's enough to really convince me the other way. The Broncos have their own injury concerns when it comes to Javonte Williams because Melvin Gordon's been basically the worst running back in football that start this season, which isn't a good sign. But at the same time, I haven't loved what I've seen from the Broncos, but I think I trusted a little more than the Jonathan Taylor-less Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm wondering who will get the bulk of the carries because you have, for the Colts, because Naheem Hines is there, who is good, but he's not. This is really a runner, right? He's more of he does the other stuff. So I don't know if he's going to now just get a lot of carries here. Would have, the only other guy with snaps out of the halfback position is Deion Jackson, who has 2 snaps to his name. He was undrafted in 2021, so I don't know too much about him. They have Philip Lindsay on the roster. I don't know, but part of me does also feel like, we kind of talk about running backs aren't as important. I think a guy like Jonathan Taylor is, different, but still, if Naheem Hines is there and they're playing quarters coverage all game, Denver is, I could still see them running the ball somewhat effectively.
Potentially. But yeah, I mean, I know he hasn't been that great to start the season, but you still pay attention to Jonathan Taylor when he's in the backfield. Uh, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think it's a really tough ask to ask anyone to step back there and have some sort of production. But right now, I'm just looking at it as if he's out, I think it's going to be a really tough time for this bad offense for the Colts right now to move the ball. And I mean, the Broncos have been good defensively. I know that, there's still questions about the offense, but they've been really good defensively. And if it's just kind of as simple as, well, the best unit I think on the field heading into this game is going to be the Broncos defense, then I'll take the Broncos and just hope that that group's able to pull it out.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair, especially, you have two quarterbacks in this game who have been disappointing starting their new team. But I think that Wilson has probably been less disappointing so far. Matt Ryan has not looked good through 4 weeks. I'm very slow to hit to say the washed word, but it's not looking great.
Yeah, he's struggled. He struggled a lot, and this offense has struggled because of it. He might be washed. I don't know. We haven't really seen enough of it, I guess, to make a fair assumption on that, but he looks definitely washed up. I don't think Wilson has looked that awesome either, but at the same time, you're right. It has been a lot better. So I don't know. Is it possible this Colts team just stinks?
Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Well, it's not one of those things too, where it's like you build your team specifically to be this run first team that can play defense, and it's like those are things that are very fluky. Running the ball well and playing coverage are very fluky year in and year out, which is really why you should, the ideal way to build a team, which is sometimes easier said than done, is get a great quarterback, get great receivers, and and that's the main piece of your team, not the running back.
Yeah. So tomorrow night we'll see how this game goes, but I still think the Broncos are in a position where they need to win games more, and I just don't know if the Colts have the horses to make this work.
Is that intentional? Have the
Yeah.
horses to make this work? Yeah. No, I think both these teams desperately need to win. I think this is whoever loses this team is going to feel very bad about themselves. Hopefully not too much, not mentally.
Maybe a little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Let's move on. Time for you to give me a game. Where are we going?
Let's go to two teams that I don't really trust. One is floundering basically right now, and the other one's starting Cooper Rush. Let's go Cowboys at Rams.
Cowboys at Rams. An interesting one here. Yeah. Okay. I think I feel okay. I am going to pick the Rams. I still trust the Rams enough in this one. I think that, again, part of it is just one of those things I always like to do of, Cowboys being 3-2 and Rams being 3-2 makes way more sense than the Cowboys being 4-1 and the Rams being 2-3. I know that it's not actually how that works, but that's something I feel makes sense in my head. I also just feel like while the Cowboys defense has been playing well, I still feel like, okay, Cooper Rush, you've done some good things. Now go play a team that's, Aaron Donald, go play Jalen Ramsey. This is, I think, going to be the first real test for Cooper Rush. Like the Bengals were good, but he didn't really play that well against the Bengals. Like the offense didn't do too much in that game. Like, what are you going to do against this Rams team that's different than the Super Bowl winning team, but still has a lot of the pieces there?
Yeah, and these two teams I think match up pretty interestingly, just because it's like, okay, I could see the Cowboys defensive line, which has been excellent, obviously, this season with Micah Parsons, kind of tearing up this Rams offensive line. But on the other side, like you were saying, this isn't the same Rams team, but at the same, this team is 25th right now in dropback EPA defensively. 25th. Did we ever expect that to happen this season? Is this something that's going to be course corrected, or is this something that's, a trend turning into a reality at this point?
I think it'll be course corrected. I mean, I think a big part of that was just playing the Buffalo Bills week 1 and how it kind of fell off the rails there.
But they got 2 picks in that game, so it should theoretically help the EPA.
I guess so. I don't know then. I don't know why that's the case. It kind of feels a bit surprising to me that it's that poorly, because I thought they did well against the Cardinals, and I even thought they did well against the 49ers last week. I mean, the defense didn't lose them that game. Defense had its issues against the Falcons, but other than that, I think it's a surprising stat.
Yeah, it's just it hasn't been good, and the Cowboys defense has been very good. So it could be something again where it's is the Cowboys defensive unit the best group of these two teams? I still think I'm betting on the Rams to win this game, but I think the Cowboys are plucky, and I think that they,
Another plucky team.
another plucky team, yeah. And this could be a pretty good team when Dak Prescott comes back, and I think they might be pretty good right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how those match up.
I don't necessarily disagree that I think the best unit in this game might be the Cowboys defense. I think that's fair. The question is, I still just feel like I trust this Rams offense, even with its issues, significantly more than I trust the Cowboys offense right now.
What about this Rams offense do we still trust?
I trust Stafford will get it around. I trust Cooper Kupp. I think I still trust Sean McVay, your favorite coach in football. I think Tyler Higbee's good. I think the offensive line's been fine. Okay, listen, Bobby Evans is, apparently the worst player to ever play football, but at the tackle position. But if the offensive line is healthy, I think the offensive line's been solid as well.
Yeah. The Rams do need to get right quickly. I mean, I guess they don't really have to get right that quickly just because it's because the division's so bad. But at the same time, like they need to start winning games soon. So we'll see if this team can match up and compete. But right now, they're just not looking. They're not looking in sync, and I don't know how it gets fixed. Other than Matt Stafford plays a lot better, and Sean McVay schemes guys open.
Yeah. And also the flip side is, what do we trust about this Cowboys offense? It's the running back duo, their offensive line, and CeeDee Lamb, right? But it's how much do you trust Cooper Rush? Again, quarterbacks matter so much. I think that's a big
Gallup
advantage.
Was solid in his return. He didn't play much, but he was solid. Got a touchdown. Michael Gallup.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it should be an interesting game.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I think it's gonna tell a lot about these two teams.
Yeah, should be fun. Let's move on. I'm going to give you not your team because that's already been picked, but two teams that play in your team's in your team's division. The Dolphins taking on the Jets. Are you locking it up? Where are you going, Kyle?
Not going to lock it up, but I am going to take the Dolphins in this one. I think the Jets might be feeling themselves a little bit too much after that win. I just think the Dolphins are a better team. I think if Zach Wilson makes mistakes, the Dolphins secondary is going to take advantage. I think that they're still going to be
I don't think Zach Wilson will make many mistakes.
You don't think so at all?
No, I think he's pretty good at not doing that.
Yeah. I don't think the Dolphins offense is going to look as good as it has with Tua in the lineup, but I think Teddy Bridgewater is a very capable backup and probably one of the better backup quarterbacks in football. So I still think it'll be okay. And I think the Dolphins can win this game by a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Dolphins are the correct pick. The one thing I was thinking of is, like, on paper, this feels like a horrible matchup for Zach Wilson. And I'm thinking, okay, Zach Wilson coming off of a good day, but now this is going to be tough playing the Dolphins defense. Dolphins defense has not played well. Dolphins defense, we're bringing up EPA a lot in this podcast. 31st in drop back EPA defensively. So they're giving up opportunities to throw on so far through 4 weeks into this season. I suspect it'll get better, but again, coverage is weird. Who knows of this stuff? So that's maybe an area where potentially it could be a good scenario for Zach Wilson. Again, I'm trying to give you Zach Wilson as much as possible because I have no clue what he is right now, and I don't want to pick him.
Yeah, I'm giving the Dolphins defense the benefit of the doubt because they just come off playing the Ravens, Bills, and Bengals.
Sure.
And I think
that definitely is a factor.
Yeah, I think that adds to it. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't looked great to start the season. It obviously looked a lot better against the Patriots, but things obviously changed. But yeah, I think it's going to get better based on, the quality of the opponents they were playing compared to, they got the Jets, the Steelers, and the Lions over there, or the Jets, the Steelers, and the Bears, over their next 5 weeks. Forgot the Lions are good on offense. So, there's going to be some course correction, I think, with that defense as far as how it's played to start the year.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm interested in seeing, I think this could be a good Garrett Wilson game, right?
Yeah.
He was kind of brought in to be the guy who can win against man coverage. I suspect we'll see a lot of cover one, man with the Dolphins in this game. So that's something that, when Zach Wilson melted down against the Patriots, it's because of that coverage. Will he be able to attack it better now? Maybe he's grown as a quarterback, and also maybe he'll have guys who he can actually, trust to get open.
Yeah, he's got better talent around him, which is going to go a long way, I think, too. So if Wilson can have some success, maybe this Jets team can move the ball and stay in this game. But right now, I just think that I'm still a believer in this Dolphins defense, and I still think this offense is going to be good enough with Bridgewater back there because I don't think it's. I think it's a drop off based on what we saw from Tua to start the season, but I don't think it's a significant drop off, mainly because I think Bridgewater is a good backup quarterback.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I would pick the Dolphins to win as well. Why don't you give me a game?
All right, let's go with this line feels low to me, but at the same time, I don't trust this team. I could see you locking this one up. Let's go with Titans at balls.
I'm locking this one up. I am going to lock up the Tennessee Titans. Kyle, I have a take.
Yeah,
I think the Titans are good.
you're back on the
I'm
Titans.
back on the Titans. I did a real 360 from thinking they were good last year to hating them in the offseason. Now I'm back on board.
Okay, so lay out your Titans case. What's good?
I trust Derrick Henry I trust Derrick Henry is good again. I think he's played well. He struggled the first couple weeks. I think him being good opens that offense up. I still don't think the offense is going to be great, but the first part of it is I think the offense can now be solid. Ryan Tannehill has looked a lot better since he's joined this. Since he's been in place here. I think that the receiving core is still not spectacular. They could still use they could still use an AJ Brown, sure, but I think that they can piece it together as long as they have the Derrick Henry threat constantly enough to at least win some games, especially against teams that I don't trust that much, like the Balls. So that's my offensive take with them.
I think it's decent. Like you said, Henry has played. This offense is going to look better when Derrick Henry's better, and he's gone a long way to looking better the last 2 weeks, and I think that helps. The Tannehill thing, I mean, he got his completion percentage up to 66% now. I think he's been decent. There's still a lot of negative plays with this team. He's been sacked 7 times. He's thrown 3 picks, but at the same time, I do think it's better than what we saw the first few weeks of the season. I agree because Henry is better, and you know what? Treylon Burks, the numbers aren't eye popping to start, but I do think there's a little bit of something there, which is two guys that, yeah, I think he's a guy we were both lower on in the draft process. He's been flashy at times, and maybe it's just about getting him on the field more, and maybe he can have more success. I do think that this Titans team could be better, but at the same time, I'm still not 100% sold just yet.
Yeah. I think that I think that that's fair. I think that they've had a couple games that really went off the rails. That's kind of the issue with the Titans. But, I'm thinking about this the Jaguars team. This is the team that part of why I'm liking the Titans is in analytical power rankings, they did well. So this is part of, throwing that in there. But I think that, yes, the Bills game was a mess. And yes, they should have beaten the Giants. But if they just make that field goal, this is a 3-1 team that we're probably feeling pretty good about with the Titans, right?
I think so. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think we'd feel better about it. I mean, the offense still hasn't blown me away because, yeah, they let that Giants game go. I felt like they almost let that Raiders game go too. So, yeah, maybe, 2-2 does feel right because they won one of those and lost one of those because they could have easily lost that Raiders game at the end too. At the end, the 2-point conversion play. So, I do think we've seen progress, and I think that's the most important thing. And now they got this game against a winnable game against Washington, who has not made progress. I think has made the opposite of progress. And then they go into the bye week, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, it should be interesting for Washington. I think that the biggest question is still the Carson Wentz stuff. What's going on there? Why is he struggling so much there? We should mention Washington has defended the run well so far through 4 weeks, so that could be maybe a positive matchup for them against Tennessee.
It could be, yeah. I mean, their struggle has been in secondary, and now that, but I mean, the big thing is they've scored 18 points the last 2 weeks to me, combined. You can't score 9 points a game and expect to win any football games. I think this offense is a huge problem. I don't know how it gets better. I don't think the Tennessee's defense has been quite as spectacular as we thought, but at the same time, I do think it can still kind of beat this Washington team and what we've seen.
Yeah, I still I'd be worried if I was a Washington fan. It feels like Kevin Byard seems like a guy that Wentz would love to throw an interception to.
Well, I think the list is shorter of the guys he wouldn't love to throw an interception to at
That's
this point.
probably true. Yeah, probably fair. Should be an interesting game, though. Again, seeing where the Titans are at, a team that's very much still in the thick of things. Even if, I'll be honest, Titans kind of boring.
A little bit, but at the same
Yeah,
time, this is kind of who they've been the last few years, and they win football games off it.
yeah. I think that's it. I think once they first started doing this, it was very exciting. I think just when you're a team who's basically done the same thing for like the past 3, 4 years, I think it starts to get a little stale.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Mhm.
What else on this game? Yeah, I mean, the big thing is can the Titans, can the Titans get stops in this one? I think we've seen everybody get stops against Washington, and I think they'll have more success there.
Yeah, should be an interesting one. But hey, again, it's Carson Wentz, right? Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe he'll,
Throw 4 touchdowns. Yeah.
yeah, he's done it before. It's always a possibility. I'm giving you a game. I'm giving you Seahawks at Saints here. Kyle, who do you have winning? You got Geno Smith, the MVP candidate, going up against the Saints. Where are you going?
Um, I'm just going to take the Saints. I feel like this team is not this bad. I feel like they have to win this one. This defense should be able to. I mean, the Seahawks offense has been able to move the ball, so maybe I'll look stupid again. But at the same time, like the Saints defense has to be able to get stops, right? Like I don't know if they can't get stops against this team, I'm worried because they should be able to stop the Seahawks team. And then I just think as long as you have 11 players who can breathe, you can move on the Seahawks defense. And I think the Saints are at least going to be able to move a little bit.
Yeah, Seahawks second worst defense in football. The Saints defense has been pretty good, so that's kind of what they've been. Second worst Seahawks, second worst in EPA. Saints defense been pretty good, and then the flip side is Saints offense has not really gotten much going. But part of that is, think about that Tampa Bay game really kind of hurts some of those numbers, right? If Jameis Winston couldn't stop throwing interceptions in that one, it feels like, I think that they're better than maybe the bad stats would say. I don't know how great they are, but I'll throw this at you, Kyle. Well, actually, here's an interesting question. Out of the quarterbacks that are on these teams, who is the best quarterback? If you're
Gino,
starting a
probably.
franchise, you get one. You're taking Geno?
Yeah, I think I'd take Gino right now from what we've seen. I
Okay.
just think Jameis hasn't changed who he is. I think Andy Dalton's a fine backup. I don't think he's a starter anymore at this stage of his career. Gino has at least shown the ability to have explosive plays this season.
Yeah, I think I agree. Andy Dalton, though, I think Andy Dalton should start for the Saints. I think that he fits
Yeah.
that scheme better. He's not gonna, it kind of always felt like a weird fit, Winston into Saints. I feel like Dalton there kind of can run that offense better. I'm not saying I think Dalton is better than Winston, just I think he fits the scheme better.
Yeah, as far as what they want to do, and the thing is that they don't need a quarterback to be a superstar or a playmaker like Jameis wants to be sometimes when he throws. Some interesting pass selection, I think, is the way to
Uh-huh.
put it. But at the same time, like this team has superstars as far as the receivers go. I haven't seen if Michael Thomas is playing in this game. We'll see, or Alvin Kamara. But at the same time, they have guys on offense who can create explosive plays. I mean, Chris Olave might be the offensive rookie of the year to so far, and so they just need a quarterback who's going to get them the ball and let them do their thing.
Yeah, Chris Olave has been great. I mean, I feel like I'm already willing to admit I'm wrong about him. Which he's been, which for me and wide receivers. I mean, that's just every time I evaluate wide receivers.
You're the Bill Belichick of talent evaluation, that's for sure.
I suppose so. Listen, I got running backs down, which is the one position I care the least about. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I mean he's been really good. His route runnings as crisp as ever. And I think he's gonna do big things this season and continue to do well. This is a dangerous Saints receiving core when it's healthy.
Yeah, but again, one healthy has kind of been to you like to say it gets an extension under name of if they're now the Saints one healthy. It feels like.
At least Michael Thomas, yeah.
Yeah, definitely Michael Thomas. Let's move on. Why don't you give me a game?
All right, let's see here. This game has always produced some interesting results, so let's go back to it. Let's do the Raiders at the Chiefs.
Yeah, also next on my list, despite the fact that there are some games with closer spreads, because I agree with you. It's a division game. Feels like, weird things happen when these two teams play. Not always. There's been some blowouts, specifically the Chiefs blowing out the Raiders. That's definitely been something that has happened. And listen, I think you have to pick the Chiefs. I'm picking the Chiefs. I think on paper it makes sense to pick the Chiefs. So you look at, what they just did to Tampa Bay. Feels like the Raiders could be in for a tough one. But, The Raiders will be desperate in this one. The Raiders need a win. I think that's a factor of they're going to really be playing this one tough. I do think that the Raiders offense is starting to figure out how to use their pieces. I could see their offense playing well, but I think the question is, I just don't think I trust this Raiders defense enough to stop Mahomes. I think again, Raiders defense been fine. It's been solid. I think again, 17th in EPA per play. It's been like middle of the road. I think that's fine. That's where the Raiders want to be defensively. But can that beat Kansas City with how red hot they're playing right now? I'll have to see it first.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All of that's fair. If you were going to reconstruct how you're playing defense against the Chiefs, if you're going to build the defense to build the Chiefs, how would you want to defend them at this point?
Well, it's interesting because earlier you would have easily said, just build, beat Tampa Bay, right? Play two safeties deep and beat Tampa Bay. Perfect. But it seems like they specifically built their offense to beat that style of defense. So, I mean, it probably just comes down to what always helps you, which is just get really talented corners and beat them that way.
Yeah, it really seems like you kind of have to win the battles on the outside because I still, Kelsey's obviously going to get his, but it doesn't feel like this is a great receiving core still. I mean, they made plays in this game they made plays in the game Sunday night, but at the same time, I don't think it's a receiving core week to week you can bet on to win. And if you can win still on the outside, I think you can have success. And I think that was so surprising is that the Tampa Bay defense, which has been so good this season, especially in the secondary, did not win on the outside. This Raiders team, they have some decent corners. I think they've been able to win up front. And I think, if they're able to make the Chiefs one-dimensional, it makes it interesting because I think the big thing the last few weeks is that this Chiefs team has been able to run the ball and have success that way. And it's also opened up more for their passing game. So if they can take Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of this game, force them to be one-dimensional, can they win against this young wide receiver room?
Yeah, and again, and part of it too is like Mahomes is going to have his ridiculous plays that you can't do anything about, right? That's just always the thing that you go in knowing is going to happen. What's the way that the Raiders have beaten the Chiefs in the past? By scoring 1,000,000 points. Like that's the way you beat this Kansas City Chiefs team. Is Devontae Adams has a great day. You get the offense as a whole going, and you're able to, even if you give up 30 points, you score 40, like we've seen them do in the past.
Yeah, and you're looking at this Chiefs defense, which I think has been pretty good to start this season. But at the same time, like we saw, yes, it was in a blowout, so there was a lot of, they were down 2 scores a lot of the game, so it wasn't quite the same. We saw Mike Evans go off. We saw Mike Williams go off. Is this a game where Devontae Adams could just kind of go nuts? It seems like that they still kind of, these secondary still kind of struggles with this big receivers. Could Adams kind of win this game for the Raiders?
It's possible. Again, I'm not betting on it. I'm betting on the Chiefs to win. The Chiefs defense has actually been solid this year. Chiefs defense, we expected it to be kind of a struggle, but it's played well. But it's certainly possible. I also do have some, little bit of worries about, okay, with this Las Vegas Raiders team, you got Chris Jones coming as well, which, who's the guys who are going to block Chris Jones? That's concerning for me as well.
Yeah, I am concerned about this offensive line and how it's going to hold up. But there have been ways to beat this Chiefs defense, I think, a little bit. And it starts with wide receivers on the outside. And Adams certainly fits the bill as a guy who can win on the outside.
Yeah, I completely agree. Let's move on. I'm giving you a game. Might be a reach. Some people might be saying this is a reach because it's actually the second highest point spread left. But I'm giving you Falcons at Bucks. Where are you going?
Yeah, this is a good pick. This line feels a little high for me just because this Falcons team has been able to move the ball. I am going to go with the Bucks. I'm a little worried about the Falcons offense this week without Cordarrelle Patterson. They use a lot of running backs, so it's not that big a deal, I think. But at the same time, Patterson's their big play guy. And if they're not able to create big plays in the run game, does this team struggle to move the ball? I think that's absolutely a possibility in this one. So give me the Bucks to get right in this one, go to 3-2. And it's one of those ones. The Buccaneers feel right at 3-2. The Falcons feel right at 2-3. So I'll take the Bucks.
Right. I think that's a big part of it. I think people are expecting, okay, Tom Brady's about to unleash, about to unleash some pent up energy given the way these past couple of weeks have gone for him on and off the field in this one. Which I could see. I think it's possible. There's no one Brady likes to beat up on more than the Falcons. That's certainly reasonable. But I still feel like, I don't know, this Bucs team, they've just been weird, right? They've been weird through four games. I don't know what's going on with them. Part of it's probably just injuries, but then the defense playing the way it did last week, I could see a scenario where the Falcons run the ball constantly, make it a low percentage game. You get the Bucs to make a couple of mistakes, and that might be all you need.
Yeah, I definitely see that thing. Right now, it doesn't feel like the Buccaneers are as good as we thought they were. Now, I think things are going to get better as guys continue to get healthy, but at the same time, the Bucs do feel beatable right now. And the Falcons have shown that they can beat teams, and at least even when they're not beating teams, compete. That's why the -9 seems very high. But at the same time, yeah, I just feel like it's going to be interesting to see how those two teams match up, because I think the Falcons have shown that they can move ball on teams and have success. And I think that they can continue to do that. And like you said, if they can capitalize on a couple of mistakes, stay in this game and possibly steal it.
I know this is a bit on the nose, but doesn't this just feel like the game that the Falcons blow a double-digit lead in?
Double-digit lead to Brady? Never seen that.
Yeah, but that feels right? The Buccaneers are struggling. The Falcons get off to a hot start. The Bucs say, okay, we're just going to throw it a bunch, and then they're able to come back and win.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see it as a possibility. This Buccaneers team, definitely hasn't had the best start to games. They've come out a little, sheepish, and part of it is going to be the thing is like, so the Buccaneers have come out of games and run the ball early and try to establish the run. Now they quickly, after like 2 possessions, basically only established the pass against the Chiefs. If it doesn't work, and does that set them behind the 8 ball in this game? But that being said, we've seen teams been able to run the ball on the Falcons, so who knows?
Yeah, everyone runs the ball on the Falcons. Yeah, this should be interesting. Also, should be interesting though. Could be a good like Cameron Brate game. I could see with we talk about the Falcons' good corners, maybe a lot of over the middle stuff. Yeah, I like the Buccaneers to win. Part of it is too. It's like the Falcons leading this division makes zero sense in my brain. Like I just can't comprehend that being a thing that like it's very possible, but like in my brain, I'm like that just can't happen.
Yeah. Arthur Smith's done a good job. He needs to be given credit for this too. I think this offense has looked really good under his tutelage. He got a guy in Mariota who he knew the system really well, and I think they've done a really good job with that group.
Yeah, should be fascinating. Let's move on. We have 6 games remaining. Kyle, give me a game.
All right, let's go with, let's see. I'm going to give you not a lot of great games left on the board, gotta say. Let's go with Texans at Jaguars.
Texans at Jaguars. This is an interesting one. I'm surprised you picked this. I was actually sort of joking to myself when I was making my list I put them a little bit further down on my list and said, oh, well, no way I'm going to end up, giving this one to you because I know how much you love the Jaguars. But, a little bit surprised to see it this early on. I have the Jaguars winning, but, Kyle, were we a bit quick to crown the Jaguars?
No, I still think they're good. They're 4th in net rating right now on NFL efficiency landscape. They're that good. I think that we do a really good job of evaluating turnover luck season to season when checking in on teams. I don't think we do a good enough job evaluating turnover luck week to week. Trevor Lawrence is probably not going to fumble the ball 4 times, lose 4 fumbles ever again the rest of his NFL career. Not to mention when 2 of them were just straight up dropping the ball, and one of those was a 4th down conversion that would have been easy if he threw it or run it, and instead the ball slipped out of his hand. And probably could have changed the game too, because they were moving the ball downfield and they were up at the time. So I think, the turnover luck's going to bounce back in their favor after last week. I think this team's still really good. It's still, once again, it's 4th in net rating right now. It's one of the top 5 defenses in football the way they're playing. It's also one of the top 10 offenses, despite not getting a ton of explosive plays out of this passing game. It's still a pretty good offense too. I trust this Jaguars team to win this one pretty handily.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely trust the Jaguars to beat the Texans. I think that's very, very clear for me. I don't know. Part of me just a little bit. I feel like the Jaguars are young. The Jaguars are exciting. Jaguars didn't get a lot of guys open last week. That was true. Like, yes, we could say all the other stuff. Maybe it's the weather. I'm willing to write off the weather a little bit. But if we're going to put you as a team, if we're going to put you as a contender, we don't have to criticize you when you look poorly. And this is a Jaguars team that has lost to the Commanders now and didn't look great offensively against the Eagles. They got that defensive touchdown and then scored, only really scored, they scored 1 touchdown in the first quarter and then 1 touchdown in garbage time offensively.
Yeah. I think it's a fair question to ask, but at the same time, I do think they're in a situation where I think it's going to get better and get better as Trevor Lawrence continues to get better. I think he's going to get better week to week, and I think that's going to really help this group. But I do think the one concern we've seen with this team is that Christian Kirk has been good. I think he's performed well to his contract standard, but you see the kind of offense you have when Christian Kirk is your number one receiver, and there's not enough explosive plays. And how are they able to start? It's a very methodical offense, I think, right now. And how are they able to start creating explosive plays out of this?
Should be interesting. I like think I like the Titans to win the division now. I think I'm back on the Titans train.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sticking with the Jags for right now. They've done well.
Okay, we'll see. Should be fun to watch. I mean, again, I trust the Jaguars to beat the Texans. Like Texans. We barely even talk about the Texans. Like, what do you have to say about the Texans?
Not much, man. It's not pretty. It seems like they're ready to get the number one pick.
Yeah. So Davis Mills looked fine.
Yeah, I think he's looked fine.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what his ceiling is, but Dameon Pierce is good.
Dameon Pierce is good. I think Davis Mills probably is a backup, but that's okay. And they have a couple decent receivers. That's basically all they got going for them.
Well, Davis Mills is basically just like Gardner Minshew, right? It's like he comes into the league and like plays decent, but it's still like, okay, wait, there's still no ceiling here.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to, so now I'm giving you a game. I am going to give you, I wonder if this is a lock candidate because the line seems low. Eagles, Cardinals. Are you locking it up?
I'm going to stay disciplined and not lock this one up, but I am going to take the Eagles. This Cardinals defense is interesting. Like, they're currently, we've gone over EPA now. They're a top 3 run defense really in football right now. And they are 26th in pass defense. So yes, we've seen more out of this Eagles passing game than last season, but this still is a run first football team. So maybe they stumble into a little bit with this team, but at the same time, there's not really much I'm betting on the Cardinals to compete. So I do like the Eagles, but I just don't want to bet against Kyler Murray and have to watch that all game and watch him run around, make some stupid plays and be like, well, I lost because they only won the game by 3 points because Kyler scored a couple garbage time touchdowns.
Yeah, that is. I think you got burned on that last time. You're not making that mistake again. I understand it. When you locked up the Raiders to beat the Cardinals. Here's my thing about the Cardinals, though. Again, I'm a big Kyler Murray fan, but their drop back EPA defensively, 7th worst in football. Eagles best in football. Eagles have been covering incredibly well. Games are won on the outside. I think the Eagles have better receivers as well, significantly better receivers in this one. So unless you think Kyler Murray is that much better than Jalen Hurts, which I do not, that's really it's really tough to imagine. I think you're right that okay, maybe they're able to slow down the Eagles' running attack, but then still okay, even if they completely shut that down, I still trust the Eagles to throw on the Cardinals more than I trust the Cardinals to throw on the Eagles.
I do too. I don't know. This feels fishy to me. I just feel like the line feels way too low, and I feel like that there should be a reason for it. I think this Cardinals offense, let's see Rondale Moore another week. Let's give it another week with Rondale Moore to see if he can actually show something, because it was his first game back last week. He didn't play a whole lot. I think he can come back and be pretty effective in this league just because of his speed and what he's able to do. So maybe that helps this offense move the ball a little bit more. But yeah, I agree. This Eagles secondary should be able to shut down the Cardinals.
Yeah. Always interesting to see, 2 bird teams play each other, right?
Yeah, bird on bird matchup. What else we got in this one?
That's it. I was hoping that would take more time than it did.
Yeah. What is your favorite bird on bird matchup?
Ooh, I think Ravens have to be there, right? Ravens are, they feel like they're a team that's consistently good. I think that they belong there. Who are the candidates here? So we have the Ravens. We have obviously the 2 teams that we're talking about here, and then we have the Seahawks.
Falcons, the Seahawks, which isn't a real bird, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, I think it has to be Eagles Ravens. I think that has to be the best.
I think so too. It's a great uniform matchup. I love the Eagles helmets. So I think I agree with that one. Plus, it's kind of local, so probably some bad blood there. I don't know what the rivalry is like between.
Yes, the heated Eagles Ravens rivalry.
It's like right next to each other, isn't it? Thinking of my geography here.
Yeah, no, it's close by. I used to live in that area. Yeah, it's you can drive to either stadium.
So maybe there's a little bit of something there. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. If they played in the Super Bowl, I think maybe something like that would happen. That'd be a fun Super Bowl.
Uh yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility right now.
Yeah, we'll see if that ends up happening. All right, got off the rails there. Let's get back on track here, Kyle. 4 games left. 4 games are the 49ers Panthers, the Bears Vikings, the Giants Packers, and the Steelers Bills. Give me a game.
Giants Packers, the 3-1 New York Football Giants at Green Bay.
Yes, yes. For some reason, even though these teams have the same record, there's a bit of a point spread. I didn't wonder why that. I mean, Giants trying to become the worst 4-1 team of all time. I do have the Packers winning this football game. There's some things the Giants do well, but like as a whole, I still don't think the Giants are very good. Like I think the Giants have Saquon Barkley, and that's good. And that seemingly is just how they're going to try to win football games: is run the ball a bunch and hope that they can, hope that can be enough to win. But like against Green Bay, I just don't know if that's gonna work.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe against the 6th worst run defense that they're able to have success doing that, control the clock a little bit. But I just don't see it happening. I really don't. I think it's going to be a really tough time because you'd say the best thing about this Giants defense is the defensive line, but it's going against a pretty good offensive line. I think that's played better the last couple of weeks. So I do like the Packers in this one. Obviously, the big thing, like, have they announced who's playing quarterback?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen. They're both questionable, so could be a problem if you cannot throw a forward pass in this one.
Yeah, that might be, or actually, honestly, might be for the best.
Just don't throw it at all.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, go triple option.
How crazy would that be when Brian Daboll does that Bills offense that basically never runs to then running an offense that never throws?
Yeah, that would be sort of like when Quentin Tarantino started making like movies from like hundreds of years ago of like he's the guy who only talks about pop culture and now he can't do it.
Yeah, it is a it'd be the ultimate heel turn, but yeah, I mean, I don't really see how I don't see a pathway for the Giants to win this one, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it, and yeah, I don't know. I guess the Packers offense continues to struggle, which I guess that's possible, right? The Packers offense has had its struggles so far in this season, and the Giants defense has had its has bright spots as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it'd take a massive amount of turnover luck, honestly, and then controlling time of possession,
Yeah,
which I guess is a possibility.
I mean that's fair. Again, still the 24th worst rush EPA, so like there's still like feels like the Packers should have no issue running the ball against them.
Yeah, I don't think they should either, but I do think it's in the realm of possibility that maybe actually no, it's not because Aaron Rodgers doesn't hardly ever turns over the ball. So yeah,
Right.
I don't know. It seems like it'd be really hard for the Giants to win this game, and I just think it'd be really stupid if this team's 4-1. Honestly, like,
Wasn't
we
there
could just
something a
cancel the
couple?
season.
Wasn't there something a couple years back where the Packers always struggled when they went out west, like the long flight? Like maybe that's it. Maybe it's being the London game. That's what could cause it to be a problem.
Oh, this game is in London, isn't it? Although
Hmm.
that's East.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's in relation to the sun that gives them trouble. I'm just saying like the act of flying that far.
Yeah, maybe they're still asleep. Aaron Rodgers is in Green Bay time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What if Aaron Rodgers just didn't show up? Would you take Jordan Love in the Packers or just the Giants?
I still take the Packers to win that game.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's closer there though. I definitely take the Giants plus 8.5 at that point.
Maybe they should just gift the Giants Jordan Love for this game, honestly.
Sure, why not? Yeah,
Just like,
yeah, or why not just like gift Jordan Love to some team, like give him to the Saints for like a year.
yeah, they should do loan agreements like in soccer.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
1 year loan of Jordan Love to another team. Let him develop, let him get some playing time. And then he just goes back to the Packers next year. It's that simple.
And that would have done wonders for Drew Brees' career. Giving when the Saints are bad, just giving him out a couple of times. That would have been really good for him.
Aaron Rodgers probably would have been loading out a couple times.
Yeah, I think so. That would be wild. I don't know what I would think about that.
Let's put it this way: if you basically I'm trying to think of a team here. Who's a good team that doesn't have a good quarterback?
Uh, Good team without a good quarterback. You could say the Giants.
Okay, let's do this real quick. So the Panthers, if the
Quickly
would
went
the
off that.
Panthers trade a second round pick for a who's a bad team right now? Would the Panthers
The
trade like a
Panthers?
second? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Would the Panthers trade a second round pick for a like a Derek Carr?
Why would they do that? The Panthers are one of the worst teams in football.
If they had a good quarterback, I think they're a lot more decent.
No. The Panthers are a bad team. The Panthers should not do that.
Okay, fair. If it was the Giants, would you trade a second round pick for a year of Derek Carr?
I mean, I wouldn't because I still don't think that they're very good either. I think the Saints are the team, right? That would trade for Derek Carr. That is the perfect scenario, and for them, I think I would.
Or I guess the Patriots too. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but Mac Jones is coming back at a certain point.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long that takes.
Okay. Again, we really covered that game thoroughly, I think, Kyle.
Yeah, I think we got it all. Giants stink. That's what we said.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. 3 games left. I am going to give you the one with the biggest point spread, the Steelers Bills. Surprised this is such a big point spread. I don't know. Maybe you feel it's not big enough. Maybe you'll lock up. Do you have the balls to lock up a 14-point spread?
Bills, no. I'm not going to lock it, but I'm going to pick them to win. Yeah, I just think that this is I think everyone's overreacting to Kenny Pickett throwing 3 interceptions. I don't think he was that bad last week. I actually thought he was pretty good. I thought 2 of them were, one of them was a Hail Mary, and then the other one was a jump ball that his 6'4" receiver didn't win. So, I don't think he was that bad last week, and I think he's going to be fine. That being said, the Bills are a much better team. Josh Allen is going to go nuts on the Steelers defense, especially with the bad defensive line, and the Bills should win this one by a couple scores still.
Yeah, remember the Steelers beat the Bills last year, one of the weirder games of that year. Allen missed some throws in that one. I don't know. I still feel like the Steelers I still think they're better than their perception. I don't know if they're great, but 14 points feels like a lot here for the Steelers. Again, I know that they've been struggling, but I still think there's things I like about this team. I think their offense should be better without Mitchell Trubisky and with Kenny Pickett. I think he should improve this offense. So I'd probably go. I mean, again, I still pick the Bills to win, but I think I might pick the Steelers plus 14.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The secondary, I think, has been a lot better than we thought. But at the same time, I just don't think it's good enough to really match up with this Bills team. But it has been better than we thought. They still have decent receivers. The problem is that they can't block and they can't get pushed with their defensive line now with TJ Watt out. So I just don't see a scenario where they're keeping up with a lot of good teams.
Well, yeah. There's I can definitely understand that. And again, as much as I would say this offense should look better, tough spot here with Pickett. First NFL start going up against this Bills defense.
Yeah, this defensive line's going to eat this offensive line alive. That's the big thing. And I just don't see how they have success. I think Najee Harris is going to be involved a lot, and I just don't think there's going to be a lot of room for Najee Harris in this game, especially against this defensive line. So it's going to be tough sledding for the Steelers in this one. I guess the question is, because they got at Bills, home to Tampa, at Miami, at Philadelphia the next 4 weeks. There's a chance this team's 1-7. Was this the best spot to bring Pickett in?
Bit of an odd move there in hindsight. Yeah. I mean, again, the best spot would have probably been just to start the season. But yeah, a bit of an unusual, I guess, maybe just because that way he was at least able to play against the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, he got a little bit of time there, but I don't know. It felt really weird at the time seeing the move. I mean, it should have happened well before, probably before that Thursday night game with the Browns. But yeah, it didn't work, and I don't know. It's not going to work the next 4 weeks. I think this team's 0-4 in the next 4.
Yeah, they got some work to do, but again, it's the Steelers. Can never count them out. Weird things happen. Let's move on. Why don't we? We don't spend forever on that one. Again, like you said, a couple clunkers here. All right, so 2 games left. Give me one of them.
All right, let's give you the Bears at Vikings.
Okay, Bears at Vikings, which now means that we know where you will be locking up, which I think is a good lock. But before we get to that, we will talk about Bears Vikings. I am picking the Vikings to win this one. Yeah, I mean the Bears have barely shown that they're a football team, no pun intended, so far. This has been a rough go of it for Chicago. Minnesota has had their ups and downs, but feels like it should be an easy win for them.
I think so too, especially when it seems like the weakest thing about this Vikings defense has been their secondary, and the Bears are afraid to throw the ball. Can we just get Justin Fields to drop back 30 times and throw it? Can we just make that happen? What needs to happen for them to actually just do that and give him a chance?
You want to do this because you just want to see what Justin Fields has?
Yeah. I want to
Yeah.
see, this is the secondary to throw on. Let him drop back and throw the ball around against this group.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense. I think that the way the team is constructed, they're more constructed to be a run first team. But I agree with you of like, who cares? You're not winning anything. Like, go and uh, you know try to go win try to be successful.
Yeah. Try and see at least what you have in the asset because I mean, I think we could both say this is probably going down to this is a team going for a high draft pick this season. And I don't do they have their pick next year? I think
No,
so. Oh, they
wait, do
don't.
they? Oh, you might be right. Yeah, right, because they got rid of the one. Yeah, I think they do. You're right. They got rid of this year's draft pick.
Yeah. So they have a high draft pick. Um, you know, see what you have before you have that pick so you can evaluate further the rest of the prospects.
Is it possible what they're doing is they don't trust Fields and want to trade him into offseason potentially, and this is their way of trying to hide it as much as possible? Is that where their mindset is?
I mean, if he's not even throwing the ball in NFL games, who's trading for Justin Fields still at this point?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to trade him, just do it. It just seems like, or maybe they want to get him a receiver in the offseason and see what happens. But at the rate they've been going, maybe they'll trade more players that'll help them. They'll trade Tevin Jenkins at some point.
Yeah. And for the Vikings, part of me feels like, hey, blow this team out, right? The Bears have
Yeah.
weirdly given Cousins some struggles over the years. This is just kind of one of those things where it's like, this is the game that you have to show that you're legit. You're 3-1. You've beaten, Green Bay, but it was week 1, so people aren't taking that too seriously. You looked really bad against a good Eagles team. But then you've barely gotten by the Saints and the Vikings. It's like this is an opportunity to show that you're good, blow out the Bears.
Yeah, I think I agree. They need to prove it to us a little bit more. I still think it's a playoff team, but they've also looked unconvincing in basically every win except for the Packers one, which the Packers just don't show up for week 1, basically. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a decent team. I just don't know what the ceiling of this team is, and a big win would go a long way.
Yeah. Let's move on. Final game on the list. You will be locking up either the 49ers or the Panthers. Which team will you be locking up?
The 49ers.
Yeah.
They are the third best pass defense in football right now. They are the eighth best run defense in football right now. Yes, the Panthers do have a pretty good defense that could, create some turnover luck against Jimmy Garoppolo in this 49ers offense, but I just don't trust it enough. I'm going with the 49ers to win this game. I think that they are a good team. I think that they should win this game by multiple scores, even on the road traveling in a short week.
Yeah. No, I don't hate this lock. I definitely think that the 49ers are a better team. I feel like they're more than 6.5 point better team than the Panthers. But I think kind of like you said, I could see the Panthers finding a way to stay in this one just because, listen, their offense doesn't score on anybody, right? So that's not something they're
Right.
concerned about. They're going to be a team that's going to try and run the ball constantly, which, there's no easy way to beat this 49ers team. That's probably the better way to do it. It's still going to be a struggle either way. But then the hope is that you get a turnover or two from Jimmy G. And, Baker Mayfield, he never turns the ball over. So you don't have to worry about that on your end.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Just the most careful quarterback. They have
Right.
scored over 20 points once this season. And do you see it happening this week? I don't.
No. No. I mean, the way they win this is another like 11-10 game.
It would have to kind of be that way. And yeah, I don't know. I just think the 49ers kind of found their groove, I think, last night or Monday night. And this Panthers team doesn't have a groove. I think it's more likely that Matt Rule's fired after this game rather than they win this game.
Interesting. You think that he could be on, you think he could be going soon?
Yeah, I think there's going to come a point here pretty soon where I think it's either put up or shut up. Maybe they wait until after the second time against the Falcons because that's a Thursday night game. I think if my calendar is right. Let me look here. Yeah, so Thursday, November 10th, they play the Falcons a second time, and if they're 2-8 at that point, maybe you make the move. But I think he's gone before the season ends.
Yeah. I could see it. It hasn't been great.
Yeah, everyone wanted it before the season. That was a Panther fan or affiliated with the organization. It seemed like, and it just
Mhm.
seems like it's the noise is a lot louder all of a sudden.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way he's getting another year, right? Unless I guess
No,
they go on some miracle run and turn it around, but I don't think that's happening.
no, I don't think it's happening either.
Yeah. All right. Well, should be a fun week. I think again, a lot of good games. Some of those clunkers, but hey, sometimes the ones that appear to be clunkers heading into the week actually end up being the most exciting games. When all of a sudden the Giants have a 14-point lead in the first quarter on the Packers, that's like all of a sudden everyone's clicking in to watch that one.
Yeah, knowing my luck, the Panthers are going to be up like 20-14 in the fourth quarter, and I won't cover.
Yeah. Well, this feels like you picking the 49ers to win the cover 6.5. Like this is totally going to be a 20-26 game.
Yeah, it just my luck. Been bad beats so far this season. I need a couple wins, but yeah, I mean that's probably what's going to happen with that one. The Giants will be in it even without they won't throw the ball once, but they'll be in the game. Yeah, I don't know. It should be a fun week. The NFL is a lot of parity in the league right now, and it's created some really fun Sundays.
Yes, we'll be back on Sunday at midnight Eastern time, right after the games are over, talking about all of them. Might be a little distracted. There's a chance that the Rays will be playing a game 3 in a best of 3 series to move to the next round. So there's a possibility I will be a little bit, watching a couple things at once in that one.
I thought baseball season was over once Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run. So good to hear that it's still going. Good luck to your Rays. Rooting for the Mariners right now, though.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm not too optimistic about the Rays. I'll have fun with it, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not either. I'm not either for your own team.
I can talk myself into it. We were injured. We're getting healthy now, but I don't know. I think we could have a chance to beat the Guardians, but after that, it could be tough.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. There's just too many good teams. Like I think I'm trying to find a reason not to pick the Astros in the AL right now. I don't want to. It feels too chalky, but that team's just so good.
Yeah, I could see the Yankees as well. They had that one horrible stretch, but it played well after that. So maybe them. But yeah, it feels like it's the Astros. I could see being the Astros here.
Yeah,
scrappy underdogs finding a way to finally win the big one.
Yeah, America's favorite team, the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
Someone wants you to address the chair. I don't know what that means. What's up with the pink chair?
It's just I don't know. I just got a pink chair. Is this one?
Yeah, I guess so.
I was looking at the colors. I'm like, yeah, pink seems interesting, so I got a pink chair.
It's functional, good back support.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever.
All right, well there you go.
Did you think there's like some big deep meaning, like how it was something about my childhood that brought me to getting a pink chair?
No, someone was just asking to address it.
No, I wasn't referring to you. I was referring to the chatter.
Maybe, yeah, it's your rosebud.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Kyle, let me know if you can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin, and make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That is at On the Sideline JK.
Yes, of course. If you like audio only podcast, anywhere you get the audio only feed, that should be available. And as a whole, should be a fun week. Also, as last thing about baseball, I thought the Cardinals have to win the World Series, right?
Because of all the old guys?
Yeah.
It'd be a great story. It would be
I have to say, our pool is hitting 700, way cooler than Aaron Judge hitting 62.
I mean, just the fact that it seemed inconceivable in August, and he just goes on this tear. Yeah. I mean, he's been unreal. He's at 703. 703. Unbelievable. He's the, fifth guy ever to hit 700?
Yeah, fifth or fourth. Yeah, not very many. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, awesome stuff. That was fun. I think he was fourth, actually. You're right.
Yeah. All right. Again, see everyone on Sunday night. Let us, again, appreciate you watching. And until next time, see you later, alligator.
Peace.